welcome to Shanghai. I'm Chen Xuan.
And I'm Stephen Radcourt. Trump's April 2nd tariffs have taken effect, and the global stock market has reacted almost immediately. Zhang Shishren was at the annual Boao Forum for Asia at the end of last month to learn more about what possible forms the reactions might take across Asian markets.
Let me just say that I disagree that the U.S. is too big to ignore. This is Trump's delusion, by the way.
That has been a major instrument of U.S. policy, sanctions. And I think a positive aspect is that we get away from this automatic policy of anybody who does something wrong, sanctions. They don't work.
The European Union has confirmed tariffs on China's EVs, and Italy voted in favor of that.
That's true.
Why are they so concerned about products from China? So, we want to look at tariffs and sanctions. They're a headache for businesses that hit consumers in their wallet.
Today, I believe that the goal of tariffs is to prove that President Trump was not wrong.
He thinks that the threat of the U.S. market is so overwhelming that it gives vast leverage, that he can threaten everybody, that he can redraw the world geopolitical map by threatening tariffs and sanctions and so forth. This is absurd. And by the way, in a completely different context, this was the American delusion.
And if those tariffs and sanctions continue, where is the world going?
We're not going to see the disappearance of the U.S. either, but we are not going to see the U.S. being the driving force of change, rules, principles, and organization for many years.
10 years ago, they're very aggressive against China. Europe followed. Sanctions against technology, chips. What has been the result of sanctions? China has become a major technology power, right? So these sanctions have unintended consequences. And China today is probably the world's greatest manufacturing superpower. Of course, these sanctions were intended to have a separate goal. Banking sanctions, these things they're automatic, they're inertia. Anything happens, sanctions. Banking sanctions against Russia. What has been the impact? Well, we can't use dollars anymore. And then we complain about countries are moving away from dollars.
That trend has already begun, according to some experts, notably with the shift away from the primacy of the dollar.
We're witnessing, the experts tell us, a shift towards non-traditional currencies, baskets of currencies such as the euro and the yen, and of course the renminbi. In 2023, you may know, for the first time, more than 50% of Chinese exports, those exports are conducted in renminbi, not in the US dollar system. And China is building currency swap measures, the accumulation of gold, the first state-backed e-currency. The United States doesn't have such a policy. More likely, we are going to see a further decline with fits and starts, perhaps ending in the Hemingway way. At first slow, and then suddenly collapse happens. Of the kind, here's the historical analogy, last remark, that Britain suffered between the end of World War I and 1945. You may know that the pound sterling was, of course, the currency that underpinned the whole British Empire, the largest globally. But it was in the 1920s, 1927, the pound Britain defaulted on debt, and the rest is history in that the US dollar became the global currency thereafter. I think we're witnessing its disintegration.
But from some quarters, all we are seeing is more restrictions.
What should China do? Certainly carry on underpinning, protecting the renminbi in global affairs.
Please get on with the things that you need to do, which is development, energy transformation, climate action, technology advance. It'll be fine, believe me.
During this year's Boao Forum for Asia, Shanghai I sat down with Michele Geraci, former Under-Secretary of State at the Italian Ministry of Economic Development, to talk about the future potential of cooperation between Europe and Asia.
Professor Geraci, great to have you with us.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Currently, what do you think is the most critical change that can bring a huge effect to all industries?
The isolation of Europe, stuck in between the US and the East. They took a rivalry approach towards China, that's the European Union, thinking that the US would protect it, and instead the US is now going against the European Union. So this is the biggest change. We have the largest economic bloc in the world that is now isolated east, west, and south.
Where do you position Asia and China in this changing world?
China and Asia represent some of the new points of this new multipolar world that is emerging. So the decadence of the United States hegemony and the growth of many points of interest of economic stability. And China, of course, is one of the main ones, together with some other Asian countries. So the role of China is now becoming more and more important within the region, in the whole Eurasia continent.
In the past 2 years, Western countries have been imposing more restrictions on China's products and tech. Most recently, Italy has banned DeepSeek on data privacy grounds. And some other countries have made similar decisions.
That's
Do you
true.
think it's fair? Why are they so concerned about products from China?
No, it's not fair, it's silly. So the blocking of DeepSeek is a sanction that will hurt our own users and our own companies, because we should, if we think DeepSeek is a competitor, I don't know of what, because we don't have an AI company in Europe. So let's pretend we fear the competition of DeepSeek. We want to study it. We want to test what it does so that we know who we are competing against. But blocking it just means that we don't even know what fight we are fighting. So that's a very stupid idea to block DeepSeek, of which, by the way, I'm a user every day.
You were with the Italian Ministry of Economic Development. So what's your take on these restrictions on the economic grounds? Will it slow Europe down?
Further, because Europe already has serious problems of economic growth. We don't have EV industry. We don't have a semiconductor. We don't have a mobile phone industry. We don't make solar panels, wind turbine to the extent that we need for this green transition. We don't have a source of energy. We don't have gas. We don't have oil. So we are stuck in a world that we are relatively wealthy because we benefit from our growth in the 1960s and 1970s. So the population still does not feel the decline that will be coming in the next 5 to 10 years.
What's your attitude towards the Belt and Road Initiative? We've noticed that Italy has quit the initiative. What's your take on that?
Another big mistake by my Prime Minister Meloni. So while I was in the Ministry of Economic Development, Italy joined the Belt and Road because I think that with the growth of Asia and Africa, we do want to contribute to the development of those markets. There could be new market for our exports, new market for building infrastructure that so Italian company would make money. So I see no harm in it. But Meloni, my Prime Minister, she exited and she has not been able to explain why.
Are the drastic policy changes from the Trump White House affecting how Europe deals with Asia and China?
It should, but we should think, or if the US is now against us, let's look for friends somewhere else. But where are these friends? We exit the Belt and Road, so we don't want to do business with 150 countries in the Belt and Road. We said that China is a systemic rival, so we don't want to do business with China. We said that India is bad guy to buy oil from Russia, and so we don't want to do business with India. Where do we do? Where do we look? There is nowhere to look, so we are stuck in our own bubble, having made enemies ourselves, enemies of countries that have done really no harm to us.
And how will this affect the global economy?
Europe will become less and less relevant. So we'll have a decline of Europe and a growth of Asia, little by little. It will take time, of course, because Europe still remains a big market, but people perceive the changes, not the absolute level, very much. So this will also create social issues within Europe, because you cannot tell people that they're going to live worse and worse.
What are suggestions for cooperation between Europe and Asia in this changing world?
Join again the Belt and Road, join the New Development Bank, and be part of this development, of this new, let's call it, Global South. We cannot just watch it and say they are bad, we should join.
Mr. Geraci, great to have you with us. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much, my pleasure.
If you've got a question for us, you can find us on all the socials.
We'd love to hear from you. You can find all our content online as well. And join us right here on Dragon TV, Monday to Friday.
Thank you so much for watching and see you next time.
Bye-bye.